Hi, I'm Brandon Vergara.
And I'm Elisa Cassell, and you're watching Culture Zone. Tonight's show is all about the urban arts. We are putting a spotlight on those artists that bring creativity and diversity in and around our city.
And our reporter Shirley Souffrant speaks to a loctician.
And Brandon, you'll be interviewing Brandon Hecht, a sound engineer and an artist.
Yep, and you'll be speaking to Nabia about the history of rap and its societal impacts that we have in general.
Yes, and then we'll cap it all off with an amazing performance by jazz collective Calmunity.
But first, our reporter Thierry Lachapelle took to the streets, different boroughs in Montreal, to try and find the most artistic murals that he could. So Thierry, you walked some of the boroughs in Montreal and you found some really great stuff. Can you tell us a bit about what you found?
Absolutely. Well, there's so many murals in Montreal that it would take days to be able to get through them all. But there's so many nice arts that we do have into our city, and I decided to go take a walk into through the boroughs of Le Plateau Mont-Royal, Ville-Marie, and Rosemont to get a closer look at this and see the impact that it has on our city. So let's go take a look. Becoming cultural figures, the Montreal murals are an outdoor exhibit that you can see all year long. Made by local and international artists, their massive size and bold colors attract people from all over the world. It's an opportunity to discover new artists and admire their work. I took a few hours in our city to understand this trend. I have realized that Montreal is where art and social economic development combine. Several routes are available to be explored. In Rosemont, many murals have been produced over the years. One of my favorite is La Forêt de Jouvence, realized by Monkey, a local artist. As you can see, these colors are so vibrant that you really believe that the old man and the baby are real. The mural represents the rebirth of the borough that was hazardous in the past. On the other hand, the color green in the mural is a farewell to the green lifestyle that became important to the neighborhood. Also, near the Métro Jean Talon, Dominique Desbiens has created a beautiful mural on cultural diversity. The central female figure represents the earth and fertility, while the four secondary characters represent 4 different continents and 4 major cultures: Africa, Asia, America, and Europe. The medallions illustrate the great periods of change in Western history: the invention of writing, the fall of the Roman Empire, and the discovery of the Americas. Both of these projects were a great success. Their goal was to increase security in the neighborhood and to rejuvenate alleys. If murals can transform the urban landscape, it seems to have the power to influence citizens to be more cautious of their surroundings. Property owners, businesses, and non-profit organizations are using art to give a fresh new look to their buildings. By allowing this, they give an opportunity to artists to renew the neighborhood and express their talent for the benefit of the community. Close to Mason Street, you can spot bees on bicycles painted beside a bicycle retail store. That's an innovative way to establish a company in a city where riding a bicycle is faster than a car during rush hour. Furthermore, a young country girl appears on the wall of a grocery store and invites you to get fresh products. At the intersection of Maisonneuve and Visitation, an institution like Old Brewery Mission has revived the Patricia Mackenzie Pavilion, a frontage of flowers that can be seen. The mural is a bridge to open the dialogue that feminine homelessness is a main concern and not a fatality to be hidden in dreary buildings. This fresco was possible with the cooperation of MU. A non-profit organization has the mission to transform Montreal into an open-air museum. Their concept is to beautify our city by creating murals that are anchored in local communities. Their wish is to bring new life to the walls of the city and create emotions on every street corner, allowing visitors to see Montreal in a different light. Urban art needs to be seen and to be experienced. On the other end, for tech savvy, a mobile application called Portrait Sonore is available on Android and Apple. This application proposes a fascinating walk, headphones to the ears, where you can discover and learn the history of 30 murals in the Latin district. It is a 2-hour experience that includes 30 sounds at the crossroads of literature, arts, and nature to rediscover a neighborhood in 3 circuits: the Savoie Avenue, Saint-Denis Street, and Les Habitations Jeannemans in the heart of the city. The Coder administration likes the fact that there is an interest in Montreal murals. About $500,000 will be invested in a mural art program. The program includes 3 components, and one of them is the creation of a major mural on a municipal building in spring 2017. Murals are becoming more popular in Montreal. It has been the home of the Mural Public Art Festival on the Boulevard Saint-Laurent since 2013. For more information and to plan your home path, you can visit www.ville.montreal.qc.ca/murals. In short, open your eyes and explore our city from a different angle. These creations revitalize our borough. Thierry Lachapelle, MaTV, Montreal.
So thank you, Brandon, for coming in studio today.
Yes, for sure. It's great to be here.
I'm glad to have you here. So one of the first questions I want to ask you actually is, where did you start in your music? Like, what got you interested in the music industry or just being an artist in general?
Well, really, it had to do with my surroundings. I started when I went to Marymount High School. It was a very multicultural school. I was starting to see a lot of different cultures and their struggles and what were influencing them, and I saw a big thing was music, and the people that I was hanging out with started doing music, they're rapping, you know, and I was always cool with it, you know, like I didn't start off an artist as well, you know, I was really inspired by my surroundings. And eventually I was like, hey guys, like let's stop doing this in the park every day, let's actually try to lay something down. I had a little setup in my mom's basement with my bed probably 5 feet away from the microphone, just trying to lay down a good demo so at least we could get our music out there.
So would you say that's the start of you developing your studio?
Yeah, for sure. It was before we had any professional gear. It was just a little computer, microphone in the middle of the room. Let's do it, cool. You know? And through the years, it was always about persistence, staying on, staying professional with the clients, even though I didn't have the space.
So you started in your mom's basement essentially, but
yeah.
Where did you go and how was that trajectory? So you took courses in sound engineering, I believe?
Yes, I went to Recording Arts Canada.
Okay.
It's located in Old Port, and I graduated in 2012. By then I was still working a 9-to-5 job, and then I would be doing night school from 6 to 9:30. So it was literally 9 to 9:30 I'd be working, whether it was something that would get me money, then to something of my passion and something that I could actually see as a full-time career.
And so moving from working in your mom's basement to where you are now, how many studios did you go through? Like, was it?
Oh man, it's
really
crazy.
Easy? Has it been easy?
It's not. People don't like music. It's a very hard thing to have a solid location, you know, especially when you're starting off, you're doing it underground. It's very expensive to do renovations to make it fully soundproof, and even if you do, it's still never perfect. So I went through at least 6 locations. I used to share with somebody, and through the time my business was growing. I had a lot of clientele, a lot of people were coming in and out, and even though it was already a studio, the people that were around that location were still uncomfortable with the amount of workflow that I was having.
Wow.
And that's one of the steps that told me, look, you can't be doing this other people. You need to get your own location. You need to be doing this 100% yourself.
Okay, and so that leads, I guess, to the next point is, so what have you done with your business today and your studio today? Where is it located? Like, what are you doing right now with it?
Right, so I took it out of that location, brought it into a building. We're now completely separated, no neighbors, and we have multimedia production studio. So everything from our 2 recording studios to the photography studio We do web development and graphic designing for artists. So we like to get the complete branding package to show that you don't need to be in America or have these really expensive guys around you to get that image and quality standard.
So you really foster a sense of creativity, and you work with different artists in Montreal?
Yes, at the moment I've worked with over 600 artists since the basement to now.
Wow.
And it's amazing. You know, the amount of, sorry.
The amount of following that you'd say the studio's got?
Diversity, sorry.
The amount of diversity of musicians or types of music?
Types of music, languages, cultures that come through. You'll get everything from Haitians to Francophone to English. Like it's really everywhere, and you know there's huge amounts of multicultural people here. So you'll see all different types of people trying to blend their music. It's also really interesting when you see French people actually changing their language, you know, their mother tongue to try to cater to the American audience.
And so where, actually on that note, where do you see the industry in Montreal going when it comes to music? Like you've been around a little bit now, so where do you really see it going in the next little bit?
Well, to go back on that, you know, I've seen a lot of influence of American artists within the French community here, since, you know, that is where the main target for the music industry is today. So I'm seeing, after coming back from Atlanta, I've worked in studios there. I went to Patchwork Studios in Atlanta, and after seeing how they do it out there, it makes sense to want to bring it back and try to do it big in Montreal as well. You know, we're not a main city. We don't have a lot of famous people who come by here, so it kind of hurts the scene a little bit because we don't have these major figures constantly showing that they're like active within our city. They're here for a day for a show and then they leave. Okay. And you know, when I was in Atlanta, these guys are there all the time. You always get to see it, and it's like, it's just an amazing vibe. And if we had something like that, it would help us boost a lot faster.
Well, that's quite amazing. You've really grown your business and the studio itself quite incredibly. And the amount of artists that you work with, 600, I had no idea there was that many. Yeah. But I wanted to thank you actually for coming by today, and thank you for coming to Culture Zone.
It was great.
Thanks.
Hairstyles have always been an expression of who we are and how we feel. Shirley Souffrant has a report on hair, specifically dreadlocks. Let's have a look.
Everybody's asking, where could we do natural dreadlocks? Well, it's here in Montreal at this first hair salon, Natural Elegance. When did you open your hair salon?
It's been like 14 years that I've been actually creating locks in Montreal throughout this salon. I was doing actually extensions before for many years and stuff like that. I just felt like it was a waste of time because basically you're doing 6 hours of work, but basically 2 months later they're throwing it in the garbage. I wanted something to be a little bit more concrete, you know, that people could wear a hairstyle without having to sit there and kind of waste so much money and time away with growing their own hair. For me, locks represents freedom, and I think everybody should be able to be free to be who they want to be. Hey! Ooh.
I think that I decided to get my locks done as I started to mature. I started to become older and started to look at myself differently. And Jackie had already started having her locks, and we used to talk a lot about hair and about dyeing our hair and the process. And I used to do a lot of process in my hair. And so slowly but surely, we just started talking about, you know, I kept telling her, like, next year I'm going to do it. Next year I'm going to do it. And then finally, I just decided, let's try it. Let's see how it goes. A lot of the older generation said, you know, when I started doing my hair, that I would be unemployable. So that people would not want to see my ethnicity so strongly in front of them. That was really hard to hear, but at the same time, I felt like I was doing the right thing for myself. But I knew a lot of people who cut them off for that reason. They didn't think they were getting jobs because of it. You know, the association with pot smoking and laziness. So in the end, it worked out for me. I feel fine, but yeah, at the beginning, it's tough.
What do you think about fake dreadlocks?
I don't know if it's good or bad because that's an individual thing. I think for me, it's an interesting dilemma to be in, to go do that much work to have something to be fake. So I think the history of locks and looking at it from the point of view of Rastafarism and looking at people who are doing their locks naturally, and it's odd. It's an odd way to go about having locks in your hair.
If people want to come to your hair salon, what would you say to them?
You have to be ready. Locks is not something that you're going to wake up in the morning and say, I want to have dreadlocks. It's something that you have to really think about because it's a long process.
Do you have any upcoming projects?
With the Essence of Locks, which is going to be the exhibition and also the book, I also have another book that's coming out, Behind the Chair, Life as a Loctician, where I talk about my experience of being a loctician. I studied in creative arts and I create a lot of things, not just locks, but I create jewelry, I'm a painter, I'm a sculptor. So I just kind of embrace all that kind of energy that I have inside of myself and just like to explore different kind of avenues.
From hair culture to rap culture, Nabia joins us now to discuss the social impact of rap music on our society. Welcome to the studio, Nabia.
Thank you, Elisa.
So why don't you start by telling us, how did rap originate?
Rap, meaning rhymes and poetry, is a musical genre belonging to the cultural movement known as hip-hop. It begins at the beginning of the 70s in the United States, and it stemmed from the New York ghettos, marked by a spirit of social protest. Excuse me. Rap has always been about positive values such as self-respect, tolerance, and self-knowledge, of course.
Okay. And also, spoken word has played a huge role on the evolution of rap music, speaking of self-knowledge.
Yeah. Gil Scott-Heron and the Last Poets were a big influence for a lot of rappers and for their songs. They are considered as the precursors of rap music. They proposed a new form of music with this way to speak above the music instead of singing. Okay. So it was really new at that time. Actually, they read their poems while the music is playing, just like the Black Panthers and Malcolm X. They denounced injustice and they tried to awake the audience.
Okay, but rap has always sort of come about from uprisings and protests, right?
A young Generation X took over from the activists of the 60s. This generation denounced the policy of the Reagan and Bush administration, which hates the working class and most of all, Black people. It led to the breakup of the social benefits of the civil rights movements and to the upsurge of racism. Excluded and confined in their own ghettos, the Generation X turned to Black nationalism and Afrocentrism just to find some help.
Okay. But like artists like Jay-Z, Tupac Shakur, A Tribe Called Quest, they've always used what was going on, social issues in their music.
Social issues and rap music are very, very bound. With the movement Black Lives Matter, the roots of this musical style are coming back to the surface. Okay. First of all, Elisa, let me explain what Black Lives Matter is. So it is an international activist movement originating in the African American community that campaigns against violence and racism toward Black people. The movement holds a protest against police killings of Black people, and broader issues of racial profiling, police brutality, and racial inequality in the United States criminal justice system. A lot of rappers sing about these issues we heard in the news, but they are not the only one anymore. For instance, in the in the R&B songs and other musical styles, you can hear about these issues. So, the Rolling Stone magazine published an article about 22 new protest songs. There is, for instance, Freedom by Beyoncé, Spiritual by Jay-Z, and so many other songs.
Wow. And like you're talking a lot about, you know, American artists, but what about our scene here in Quebec? How are they making an impact?
Now this musical style is not African American anymore. There is no country, no culture difference. Okay. Here in Montreal, we have the Dead Obies. They are from Longueuil.
Okay.
So
that's good.
Just very close to us. They use a mix of French and English in their songs. And that's why there is a lot of debate around their music, because they are mixing these two languages. The debates are different from the 70s in the United States, but it's always around society.
Okay, right. And now it's sort of made a U-turn, like rap, and it's come to slam. I think you were talking about slam poetry, or?
Yes, it's really awkward because slam has the same origins as rap music. But when you are listening to the slam today, it's very confusing. You don't know if it's slam or spoken word.
Okay.
But you know what, Elisa? It doesn't matter because, in my opinion, it's so beautiful.
Okay.
So,
and as long as the message is getting out, right? So.
Of course, the message is the most important for slam, spoken word, and rap music.
And as long as we have social issues, we'll have rap music?
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elisa.
We've learned so much on today's Culture Zone, from hair to art to rap, and now music.
Yeah, so since 2003, our next performers have been really at the forefront of live organic music, improv really, and they have over 60 contributing artists, no less. They can be caught every week at the Résonance Café, as well as Petit Campus. They'll be joining us shortly, but before they do, we wanted to thank you for watching Culture Zone, and please help me welcome the Community Vibe Collective.
Bad mighty, incomparable, live organic, kings of the city. KVC is in the building. Welcome to the Community Vibe Collective.
I let know my
I decided to go on in this journey, catching butterflies in the wild trees. Nothing was planned at first. I'm just playing in this garden of mine.
Yo, the words I spit have never ever tasted sweeter than this. No boasting. These days I work my magic with no potion. Flow so potent, no poking a young panther. Don't say R.I.P. Eric Garner, just put your hands up. Real brother stand up when I spit that napalm. We don't wear hoodies no more, we rock Trayvons. We fake-face kids, we don't die. Kinda quote a little bit when I say we all fly. I don't buy nothing that they put on my homie. Y'all watch them kill Premier Rice, folding plastic triggers. This won't stop, think twice about hitting them cops. They multiplying like roaches on every block. And every block should know God, Fisher Free and Larry Davis. Black souls filling black holes and overcrowded cages. Black power's been tainted since X. Black love's been mucked up. It's what I said on my exit. Go!
In a bucket. What I gotta do.
What I got to do.
To accomplish.
TG to the world. Check. Yo, on my block, you look, you quick to find a G-Heady J. Hey, you missing Stop and Frisk? I see that stuff every day. Trayvon ain't new, Mike Brown ain't new, and unless you bulletproof, you can catch a bullet too. Don't let CNN fool you. Black on black crime is not the #1 killer of young black minds. Tainted water, lack of food and landmines. STDs like HIV are still stuff they stand by. Better the dentist to take it toe to the chemist. That means doctors are killing my homies the Smith and Wesson. Medicated toddlers with depression, staring at the obese moms in McDonald's like you still ain't learned your lesson. Pointing fingers at you too, deal with repression and sends help for the weak. We don't ask for suggestions, bro. Passive aggression is the phrase of the day. The whole world's got PTSD. Can you see black?
In a bucket. I gotta do what I gotta do to accomplish.